Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
Sometimes the best way to find a living is to stay right where you are and study with UAS online. Career-specific distance programs from the University of Alaska Southeast are the fastest way to increase your earning power.
We connect all over the world.
The National Weather Service.
Hello again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us here at KAKM Studios for Monday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Dave Percy, and I'll be hosting tonight's show. On the fire danger map, again, not a lot on it. Still stretch right through here, the Copper River Basin, and some over the central Seward Peninsula, and also little broader area up there over the northern upper Yukon Valley, but not extending as far west as it did yesterday, and still have some high fire danger over areas of the northern southeast coast. And for satellite imagery, a lot of clouds here from the southeast interior all the way down to Dixon entrance to Queen Charlotte's. Low pressure just west of the Queen Charlotte's there, and a weakening front, really weak, push northward. Mostly just clouds. There was some areas of showers this afternoon down over the southern southeast coast, but a lot of clouds here over the Gulf of Alaska, and moisture here, showers over the Copper River Basin, slid into the Palmer area and the Susitna Valley today, all the way over to the Alaska Range, and even some showers down Cook Inlet along the Kenai Peninsula, where Nikiski picked up about a third of an inch of rain. Otherwise, again, some scattered thunderstorms actually isolated over here in the interior. A little more extensive, Eastern Brooks Range on down along the eastern interior, mostly action over in Canada. Sunshine, upper Yukon Valley or the northern valleys here out to the west. This that old, what was a front that came across the Bering over the weekend. Now just a band of clouds, really not much precipitation with it after dropping about a third or so of an inch across the northwest interior during the day yesterday and the Saturday night period. Then we got some good sunshine here over the Alaska Peninsula with temperatures rising into the 60s in the sunny locations, 68 or 70 both at Sandpoint and Chignik this afternoon. Not too bad there over Kodiak Island, just some of this cloudiness sliding southeastward into the area. Kind of an upper level trough right through here that's dropping southward, going to be replaced with more high pressure over the interior and temperatures going up over the next several days. Otherwise, this system really not a lot of moisture with it. I didn't see any rain in the observation on Alaska. They probably did pick some up there at Nikolsky. And then just a lot of low clouds, fog, some areas of clearing. Atka cleared out, rose into the mid-50s this afternoon. Clouds St. Paul, northwest Bering clearing out there with that flow coming offshore or out of the Russian Far East, but clouds from St. Lawrence Island right on up into the Chukchi Sea, again associated with this very weak system. Again, just about no precipitation left with it at all now, just basically cloudiness. Good sunshine here over the western interior up to the northeast there, and that triggered the thunderstorm activity there for the eastern Brooks Range area. Just isolated scattered strikes here on the western edge of the green shield there I drew for the precipitation. This not all solid rainfall in here, mostly just a lot of showers in that area with scattered thunderstorms again from about the Northway area roughly into Canada and then kind of curving back like that in toward roughly around the Arctic Village zone. And then again, this bringing some showers in over the southern panhandles. Pretty good showers came westward this morning. Brought about a third of an inch to as much as 6/10 of an inch here from the Susitna Valley, Manuska Valley actually, and on to the east with Gunsight there in the Glen Highway picking up over an inch of rain in the last 24 hours. So on the mountainous terrain there, some of the rain came down pretty hard, but a lot less back out to the west. And then these showers had slid southward again, bringing some rainfall to the central peninsula there. Again, Sterling, Nikiski, picking up some rain earlier today. Low clouds and fog quite prevalent, dominating the Bering Sea once again here. High pressure back out to the southwest. Just very weak westerly flow, but carrying the low clouds, along with some drizzle tonight, possible here along the southwest coast from roughly Kipnuk, across Nunivak Island, right along the coast there to Cape Lisburn, maybe a Monarch, and that's about it. But lots of IFR out here, light winds all the way back to the western Aleutians there into the high. And this rain area kind of pulling back to the south now, so drying out, but staying mostly cloudy there for the eastern Aleutians. Should be a mostly clear night here for the Alaska Peninsula up into the southwest interior, and showers will be in the diminishing mode throughout the evening hours and into overnight. And about 4 a.m. tomorrow, which this map is drawn for, just some scattered showers, mostly cloudy skies. Copper River Basin, maybe up as to the Alaska Range, maybe a little to the north, and then back down, lingering showers over the Talkeetnas and the mountainous terrain, and that's about it. Mostly cloudy for the Gulf of Alaska, dry for Kodiak Island, and mostly cloudy for the southeast coast. Still possibly lingering showers down there near Heidelberg or Craig. And then for tomorrow, this system continues to drop out of the picture there. A couple of weak lows here, really not doing much. So mostly cloudy, partly sunny, I'll call it optimistically for the Panhandle there. Still a risk of a shower for the Prince of Wales Island area, and also over toward the border in the afternoon with, again, most of thunderstorm activity over in British Columbia off to the east there. And redeveloping again the 40-mile country south of Eagle, though, down toward Nebezna, and then back to the west along the Alaska Range. Could get some thunderstorm activity over the Talkeetnas possibly, but other than that, it should be a mostly sunny day. Temperatures a little warmer than today, 60s to lower 70s, which isn't much warmer than today. But isolated afternoon showers along the western Alaska Range there, and again up over the eastern Brooks Range, but a lot of sunshine here north of the White Mountains, across the upper Yukon, all the way back to the west here. Some low stuff here right along the coastline, maybe burning back to the coastline tomorrow afternoon. High pressure, weak winds, lots of low clouds, fog, IFR. Maybe some drizzle here on the Bering Sea side of the peninsula showing up, and really no change here in store for the Aleutians or much of the Bering Sea. High pressure now up along the Arctic coast. Again, winds quite light, areas of dense fog there off the coast, and to a lesser extent here in the west. Otherwise, the much of the North Slope should be partly to mostly sunny tomorrow. And then for Wednesday, this front approaches the western Arctic coast, so that should increase the offshore flow a little bit. So look for mostly sunny, hopefully, there for the central western Arctic coast. Still some low stuff here on the east side. Risk of a thunderstorm over the eastern North Slope zone there, probably down into the mountainous areas, but a lot of sunshine, warm temperatures here through the interior areas. Actually, mostly sunny all the way down to the North Gulf Coast. But again, some moisture, instability. Look for some thunderstorms to develop over the Alaska Range area, maybe an afternoon convection building over the Kenai Peninsula, possibly the Chugach, but didn't really draw it in. And southeast Copper River Basin, Wrangell Mountains, look for some afternoon thunderstorm activity. Southeast coast here, mostly cloudy, scattered showers, especially over toward the border. That's where the heavier showers will occur. Mostly sunny Kodiak Island, and now a risk of some thunderstorms here over the Kilburk Mountains there, northern Bristol Bay, but back to the northwest, fair. Just some variable clouds here along the coast, patchy fog possible, and still socked in over much of the Bering Sea in areas there with drizzle, fog, and low clouds all the way out to the Aleutians as high pressure holds here over the western Bering. Temperatures this afternoon across the southeast coast, lower 60s to as high as 70 there at Juneau and Gustavus, 66 in Yakutat, Skagway up to 68, while Klawock was at 61. Metlakatla 64, Lower to mid 60s, North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, and 60s here for the Kenai Peninsula. 70 degrees up at Talkeetna, while Squinton was at 63, 72 at Port Allsworth, 73 up there at Gulkana, 70 degrees in McCarthy, and Chicken had 73, while Northway was 10 degrees chillier, and Fairbanks right near 70 this afternoon. Other places with the showers only in the upper 50s, 72 at Fort Yukon, 66 Arctic Village. Umiat Airfield, 68, 58 at Barrow, just 43 over at Kaktovik, and 48 here at Tin City. Otherwise, mid to upper 50s across the area. And Caltag up to 72, 65 there at Bethel, 68 at McGrath, with upper 50s out along the coast. Pribilofs, low 50s this afternoon. And with the sunshine, temperatures here warming to near 70 over the Alaska Peninsula, cooler along the Bering Sea side, and 50s out over the Aleutians, 47 out at Shimia. And for the lows tonight, again, 50s over the interior, 40s for the Arctic coast, down into the Bering Sea, all in the 40s, and 50s here, south central Alaska, the southwest interior, the Kuskokwim Valley, upper 40s for the deltas, and 50s for the southeast coast. Highs for tomorrow warming up, 70s to lower, possibly 83, 4 or 5 showing up in some areas tomorrow afternoon here over the central interior, with 70s right out to the Selawik Valley, Seward Peninsula, maybe up to the Noatak Valley as well, and the North Slope possibly reaching back into the lower 70s there with 50s and 60s out along the coast. Mid to upper 70s here, south central Alaska. And not too bad for the Panhandle, mid-60s to lower 70s, warmest in the north. For flying weather tomorrow morning, VFR across all of the mainland areas. Arctic coast shaping up pretty good for tomorrow morning, with just maybe some marginal stuff here right along or off the coast. Marginal VFR for the Gulf of Alaska, back in across the Barren Islands, and down the east side of Kodiak Island, and some leftover marginal VFR over the southern southeast coast. And again, the Bering Sea quite socked in. And then for tomorrow afternoon, no change out here except the western areas become IFR. And IFR edges in towards the eastern Aleutians there and northward to St. Lawrence Island. Pretty good along the Arctic coast. VFR in the interior. Marginal VFR now right up along the coast, back down along the east side of Kodiak Island. So increasing throughout the day there. And again, thunderstorms over the interior. Passes VFR for Anaktuvik and Adigan. All of the Alaska Range passes will be VFR tomorrow. Lake Clark, Merrill, Rainy, Windy, and Isabel and Mentasta, as well as Portage VFR. And Portage, Mentasta VFR, as well as Portage, Chilkoot and White, another VFR day. For the freezing levels, not much variation here, 8 to 10,000 feet, like it was most of the weekend or all of the weekend into early last week. Through the interior, warmer back to the west a little bit. That's where 12,000 feet are found, as well as out over the Bering Sea, running about 10 to 12,000 feet with very little thermal gradient anywhere. And icing maybe above 10,000 feet here, just clipping the northern panhandle. And with this would be mixed varieties here, eastern Alaska Range into the upper Tanana Valley. And the jet stream, which isn't really all that strong, dropping through the western Aleutians, one branch down to the south, another branch sailing southward here across the western interior, and kind of a trough right through here, so we're getting some easterlies across this panhandle right into Kodiak Island, and light flow up over Northwest Territories and much of Alaska. 9,000 foot winds, again, high pressure, weak high pressure here in the west with northeast flow, maybe at about 10 knots. From the upper Yukon or the White Mountains right down across the Kenai Peninsula, 15 knots for the Alaska Peninsula, and this low kicking it up 15 to 20 knots on the southern southeast coast. High pressure out to the west, could see some 20 to 25 knot winds dropping into the central Aleutians. And at 3,000 feet, 25 knots there, maybe clipping Point Hope and Cape Lisburne. Light variable winds under high pressure in the north. Light winds all the way down into the Gulf of Alaska, including Kodiak Island, the southeast coast, 15 to 25 from Unalaska over to Adak out of the northwest. And for turbulence, none significant expected tomorrow, so pretty smooth It could be a little bumpy to start the day out with here with the northwest flow along the Alaska Peninsula, just some light mechanical stuff, and that's about it. Otherwise, it's very smooth. And after hangar flying, I'll be back with the marine forecasts.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mary O'Connor. Thanks to the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health for allowing us to bring you hangar flying. I'd like to thank Alaska Public Media for their support of hangar flying, which helps keep Alaskans up to date and informed about aviation in Alaska. This evening, we are pleased to have as our guest Corey Hester, the new CEO and Executive Director of the Alaska Airmen Association. Corey, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
First of all, congratulations on the new job.
Thank you.
You're not new to Alaska. You're born and raised here, and you've worked some fairly high-profile jobs in Alaska. Are you a pilot?
I'm not a pilot, but I was born and raised here. As you had mentioned, I have a large extended family throughout Alaska, and many of them are full. It's full of aviation enthusiasts, experts, and pilots. So the aviation community is not new to me in terms of being around and involved in it, but getting my feet wet more in depth in the aviation community as a representative is something I'm really looking forward to.
So what made you apply for the job with the Airmen?
Yeah, so I've always been fascinated by the aviation industry. And with recent developments in new technology, it's really captured my attention, and I've started to delve more into it within the past couple of years, and this opportunity just kind of presented itself. And I said, why not? And the team there elected me to kind of lead the new generation of aviation enthusiasts here in Alaska. So really honored to be here and to do that.
So we were chatting. You have some family history with the Airmen, and you bring some historical perspective that we might not have obviously noticed.
Yeah, so my grandfather he worked for the FAA here in Alaska for 30 plus years, and he was really involved, especially in rural Alaska, in building rural airports, designing the blueprints, some of the first ones in many parts of rural Alaska. So. Jim Perham was super involved in that. He was a member of the Alaska Airmen Association back in the day too. He had his old his pilot caps and his swag back then as well. So I still have some of those, I think. Yeah, so it was good to see that, and that's something that I didn't even necessarily know of before researching this position and getting involved with the Airmen as well. And then, I kind of found out I got a little bit of family history in this organization as well. So that was pretty neat.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit about your background. Can you tell us about some of the jobs that you've had that have helped prepare you for this role?
Sure. So I've been involved with a lot of nonprofits. Most recently, I was at the Anchorage Chamber of Commerce, and that is, that's one of the largest business organizations in the state. And they're also a membership organization, so really the nonprofit aspect as well as the membership aspect is a really strong suit of mine, and I sit on various boards of other membership nonprofits, which also helps to see that type of organization from that perspective. So it's really good from that point of view, but also in terms of rural Alaska, which is one of the focal points of what I'll be doing at the Airmen, is Alaska geotourism, and that's a concept that I help pioneer here in Alaska. And that's really to help boost rural economies, no matter how small they are. And we work with some National Geographic executives on that, and that took a life of its own. So experience in rural Alaska is something that I also bring to the table too. So.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
So I guess that touches on, a good segue into my next question. Sure. Do you have any goals for your time in this position?
Yeah. So targeting the youth, making them aware of the aviation community, of all the different options and avenues that they can take to get a job, to get involved, to learn more about. Youth outreach is something that the Airmen feels very strong about and has a great track record of providing scholarships, providing educational services to these youths, whether in junior high or high school, and even at the collegiate level. But really solidifying that and kind of taking it from maybe an aviation day, a once a year annual event, to more than just a week even, to a structured program that's continuing maybe on a semester basis, maybe a summer program. So really exposing them to different variations of aviation. And the newest, the hip thing with youth is really drones and unmanned aerial systems. So making sure that the airmen are at the front of that, that we're involved with that, and really just helping grow the aviation community in Anchorage and Fairbanks and just all across the state is something that the airmen are really proud to have done before. And targeting the youth and the millennial generation is something that I'll be able to bring to the table and grow from that angle. So.
Oh, very good. So if members or potential members, members of the public would like to say hi or to meet you or find more information about what you plan on doing, how can they reach you?
So, AlaskaAirmen.org is our website. They can contact me at Corey.Hester@AlaskaAirmen.org, and that information is on the website as well. I'd love to hear from all the aviation community across the state, and I've already received a lot of phone calls and emails. They're very supportive, very welcoming, so that's really good to come into a warm environment and a close-knit community here. So I'm excited to get involved and grow the Airmans and just really grow in the aviation community throughout Alaska. So
great. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being our guest on Hangar Flying.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching Hangar Flying. When you go flying, please remember, always file a flight plan or let someone know where you are going and when you'll be back. Until next time, fly safely.
Welcome back. Today's sea ice analysis has open water now, Bering Strait right up into the Chukchi Basin. This area right through here is about 1 to 3 tenths, and then the pack ice is just not too far northwest of Barrow and Wainwright. And the outlook later in the week, say Friday or Saturday, winds become more northwest, and they're looking at the possibility of an ice shove to occur from Barrow down to Wainwright. It's not a sure thing, but the possibility is there that could happen. I don't think that's happened since the summer of 2008 when it occurred in Barrow, but it may have occurred since then. I just missed it. Anyway, on to the marine forecasts. Easterlies 10 to 20 here along the coast. Northwest up on the far north coast. Lynn Canal, south 15, otherwise light variable winds on down to the south. And that doesn't change for Wednesday over the inside waters, except northern Lynn Canal picks up to 20 knots in the afternoon. Variable winds southeast to southwest at 10. Quite light here for the coast. Seas just 4 to 5 feet. Westerlies at 15 there on the extreme north coast. And for Prince William Sound, variable to southwest at 10. Same thing for Cook Inlet. Light variable winds, Kamishak Bay across the Barrens, Kodiak Island. Southwest or west southwesterlies 10 to 15 for the North Gulf Coast, and northeast 15, Shelikof Strait. Easterlies about the same speed in the forecast for Wednesday. East winds kicking up to 20 knots, Kodiak Island, still light and variable for the Barrens to Kamishak Bay. Cook Inlet, southwest 15 in the afternoon. And west-southwest, quite light here for the North Gulf Coast at 10, and winds staying pretty light there, variable to south for Prince William Sound with just 1 foot seas. And for Bristol Bay, north 15, that extends down along the Bering Sea side of the peninsula, and from Castle Cape to Cape Sarachev to Castle Cape, north at 15, and then northwest at 15 up to Sitkinak. And then on Wednesday, easterlies from Sitkinak to Castle Cape, 20 knots, northeast 20 on out to Cape Sarachev, and northeast to north 10 to 15 here on the Bering Sea side of the peninsula. For the Aleutians, eastern Aleutians north to northwest 15 to 20 knots with 4 to 7 foot seas, northwest 15. Not too bad for the central Aleutians, light southwesterlies out to the west. And for Wednesday, under high pressure, light variable winds here from Amchitka right there all the way out to Shimia, and northerlies on the light side for the central Aleutians and the Fox Islands, northerlies at 20 knots, but seas only 4 to 5 feet. For the southwest coast, north to northwesterlies 10 to 15, pretty slight seas. Pribilofs, light variable winds, and southwest 10 knots increased to 15 knots for St. Lawrence Island. And for Wednesday, southwest here, just 10 to 15 again from St. Lawrence Island into the northern Bering, and the southwest coast northerlies 15 to 20 knots, but seas just 3 to 4 feet, north 15 with 4-foot seas there for the Pribilofs. Up along the central Arctic coast, we've got westerlies at 15 in the forecast for tomorrow, south and then southeast lightening up toward demarcation point. The west side, southwesterlies at 10 knots, and from Wales to Cape Beaufort, south 15 to 20 knots, with the strongest area again from Cape Thompson to Cape Beaufort. And then for Wednesday, 20 knot southerlies out here in the west. Small craft advisories for the western Arctic coast there, up to 25 knots, 6-foot seas, dropping back to 15 knots for the central coast, east-southeast at 10, so staying pretty light there on the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. And for tonight, variably cloudy, more clearing out here to the west than over the east and southeast where showers will linger. Mostly cloudy for the southeast coast, North Gulf Coast, down to Kodiak Island, low clouds and fog, IFR out over the Bering Sea. And this system now edging away, so the chances of rain will vanish here this evening for the eastern Aleutians, and that'll continue into Tuesday, but watch for some moisture increase in the form of drizzle and fog there for the Alaska Peninsula. That same pattern over the Aleutians and Bering Sea, with light winds to the north. Afternoon thunderstorms, warmer over the interior areas, 70s to lower 80s, and partly sunny for the Panhandle with a risk of a shower in the afternoon. Same thing for Kodiak Island. And the outlook for Wednesday, sunny and warm into the mid-80s over areas of the interior, with thunderstorm activity over the southern mountains. Let's look at the weather. Have a great evening.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.